Okay, so we're going to go through the question that we did in class today, which was to draw the graph of the function f of x equals 2x plus 7 in the domain minus 6 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 0. And x is an element of a real number, okay? So that's what that means here. X, this symbol means is an element of, and this or means a real number, okay? So when the domain is here and it's minus 6 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 0, x is the list of our inputs, which goes over here as we know. And how do we figure out what numbers go in to these boxes here? And this is what tells us. So it tells us that x lies somewhere in between minus 6 and 0. So we put all the whole numbers from minus 6 to 0 in here, okay? Thinking of your number line for this, all right? Here's minus 6 and here's 0 on your number line. So you are going to be putting in minus 6, minus 5, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1 and 0 in for your inputs, okay? So we're going to make a start by doing that first. So we've got minus 6, minus 5, minus 4, all the way to 0. And that is all of our inputs, okay? Now, this is our rule. We know this already. F of x is equal to 2x plus 7. That means 2 multiplied by the input plus 7. All right? Now, I put the x here in red because that might help you deciding for each of these lines what number is going to be substituted in for x. So that rule is going to stay the same all the way along here. It's going to be 2 multiplied by the x, which is our input. So the only thing that is going to change going down here is the number that we are inserting in for x. So to make sure that the rule is staying the same, apart from that, we're going to write out the rule. But instead of writing out the x, we're just going to put in open brackets because we know that we're going to be substituting in a different number into those brackets for each line. Okay, so for the first one, our input is minus 6. So minus 6 is going to go in for x. On our next line, it's going to be minus 5. And so on. Different number each time into those brackets. We want to now figure out what our y coordinate is going to be, which is over here. So this is basically the answer from the rule, from putting in the input into the rule. What's the answer going to be? Be really careful here with our negative numbers, okay? We know brackets mean multiplication, so let's just focus on the first line here. It's 2 multiplied by minus 6. A positive multiplied by a negative is going to give you a negative. So 2 multiplied by minus 6 is going to give us minus 12. And then we have to add 7 to that. Okay, let's go down and have a look at our number line. When we are adding, we go to the right of the number line. So we're starting way down here at minus 12 and we're adding 7 to minus 12. So we'll end up going towards 0. So minus 12 plus 7 is going to give us minus 5. Okay, the next one, minus 5 is our input. 2 times minus 5 is minus 10. Minus 10 plus 7 is going to give us minus 3. Okay, so continuing on then, we'll end up getting all of these numbers in our range, okay? And we know our range is the y coordinates, right? So to finish out the table, we need to fill in the couples. And we know already that the couples are the input followed by the output, okay? And that's why I've done that in a different colour. You're relating red x to the input that went in and blue y to the answer that you got. All right, so our couples, first of all, for the first line are going to be minus 6, minus 5. All right. And if we continued all of that on, we'd eventually get the following. Okay, so these are all our couples that we're going to get. Now, we have to draw the graph of that function. So now we've got all our couples, and all that's left now is to actually plot those points. So we'll start with the first one, which is minus 6, minus 5. Minus 6 is the x coordinate, which means I have to find minus 6 on this line, okay? And here it is. Minus 5 on the y, this is the y axis here. So I find minus 5 on the y, which is here. Now, the point I'm plotting is where those two lines meet. So if I was to draw a straight line, an imaginary line from minus 6 going down here, and if I was to draw a line from minus 5 going this way, I want to figure out where they would meet, okay? If they continued on, and they would meet right here. So we see minus 6 is up there, and minus 5 is across here. So the point that I'm going to be plotting is right there, okay? Minus 6, minus 5. Okay, so then as we go along, we keep plotting those points. On the next one, we've done minus 5 on the x, minus 3 on the y, and they meet here. So that's the point I'm plotting. Minus 4 on the x, minus 1 on the y, that's where we're plotting the point. Minus 3 on the x, 1 on the y, that's where those two lines meet. Minus 2 on the x, 3 on the y, we're meeting here. Okay, the next one then is minus 1, 5. So minus 1 on the x, 5 on the y. And that's the point there. And the last one is 0 on the x and 7 on the y. Okay, which is there. Now, we're almost finished. The last thing that we need to do, because we can see here that it's a linear graph, okay? It's going up in a straight line, okay? There's no point over here or over here. They can all join together to make a straight line. So we need to get our ruler and draw a straight line now, okay? So we bring the ruler over, line it up to the dots, and draw our straight line from there. Okay, so now we've completed the question. We've drawn the graph of the function f of x is equal to 2x plus 7 in the domain from minus 6 to 0, where x is an element of a real number.